Happy wife, happy life, was the first lie that ruined modern marriage. Let's talk man to man. They told you, happy wife, happy life, and you swallowed it whole like gospel. You wore it like armor, thinking it would protect you from conflict, from heartbreak, from the cold silence at midnight. But let me rip the veil off today. That phrase didn't protect you. It disarmed you. It stripped you of your backbone and taught you to become her emotional butler rather than her man, her leader, her king. It sounded sweet, didn't it? Like a fairy tale promise in a world full of chaos. You thought if you just kept her happy, everything would magically fall into place. But here's the ugly truth no one told you. It didn't create love, it created servitude. Not for her. For you. You became the emotional ATM, the silent sufferer, the man who sacrificed himself on the altar of her temporary smiles. And she learned that love is a tool, a lever to control, to bend you until you no longer recognized yourself in the mirror. 1. It trained men to serve emotions, not build legacy. What did they really mean when they said, happy wife, happy life? They meant, bow down to her emotional storms. Forget your purpose. Forget your peace. Forget your dreams. Just make sure she's entertained, validated, and pacified. You were taught to trade your mission for her moods, to abandon the steady hand of leadership and become the jester in her private court. When she was upset, you offered apologies instead of solutions. When she felt insecure, you shrank to make her feel taller. And over time, you forgot what it felt like to be a man building something bigger than comfort, a legacy, a fortress, a family with unshakable foundations. Brother, you weren't born to orbit around her emotions. You were born to build empires, to protect kingdoms, to lead with clarity. The lie trained you to believe your strength was dangerous, that your leadership was oppressive, that your standards were toxic. But deep down, you know, a man who abandons his mission for moods loses not just his woman, but himself. 2. It rewarded tantrums and punished male leadership. Every time she slammed the door and you ran to apologize, you handed her the keys to the kingdom. Every time she gave you the silent treatment and you scrambled to restore peace, you traded your authority for her approval. You taught her that her feelings are law and your boundaries are disposable. You taught her that if she cries loud enough, you'll erase your own convictions. And so you did, over and over, until your backbone was a memory, your voice a ghost. This isn't love. It's emotional blackmail dressed as devotion. You became a hostage in your own home, calling it love because society told you that a real man fixes everything, even when he didn't break it. You began to fear conflict more than disrespect. You'd rather eat your dignity than risk her momentary displeasure. But tell me, brother, can a man lead a family when he's terrified of a tantrum? Can he protect his household when he cannot protect his own peace? You know the answer. 3. It taught women that love means control. When did she stop looking at you like her king? When you knelt at her feet? When did she start rolling her eyes at your ideas? When you stopped enforcing your standards? A woman doesn't respect a man who worships her moods. She respects a man who stands firm, who leads without apology, who is kind but unbreakable. But the lie taught her that love is about power, hers. She learned that tears are tools, that silence is a sword, that every meltdown is a chance to shift the balance of power in her favor. And every time you caved, she learned a dangerous lesson, that you'd trade your soul for her smile. But love isn't about control. It's about partnership. It's about two people sacrificing for each other, not one person sacrificing everything so the other can reign unchallenged. When a man becomes a servant instead of a sovereign, respect dies, and love isn't far behind. 4. It turned the husband into the emotional janitor. She explodes, you sweep up the debris. She insults, you soothe. She disrespects, you apologize. You've become her emotional janitor, cleaning up every mess she makes while ignoring the garbage piling up inside your own soul. She demands patience, but does she offer it back? She expects sacrifice, but when have you seen her lay something valuable on the altar of your peace? She wants unwavering support, but what happens when your knees buckle under the weight of it all? The lie taught her to expect everything and give nothing. You, in turn, learned to accept crumbs and call it a feast. You were convinced that conflict was the ultimate enemy, so you surrendered before the battle even began. But in the quiet hours, when the house is still and your thoughts echo off the walls, you feel it, the emptiness, the rage, the quiet resentment. What man can build a legacy while living in a constant state of apology? What king bows to his queens every mood swing and still calls himself a leader? 5. It destroyed the masculine order marriage was built on. A home without order is a battlefield. A marriage without structure is a ticking bomb. But the lie said, forget the map. Let her steer. Just keep her happy. You became the silent driver of a car with no brakes, no compass, no destination, just her feelings at the wheel. You traded your crown for her comfort, your vision for her validation. And now, men everywhere are wondering why they feel like strangers in their own homes. Marriage was designed to be a dance, not a dictatorship. A man leads with love and wisdom, a woman follows with respect and trust. But when you erase that structure, you invite chaos. You create a home where the loudest voice wins instead of the wisest. The result? Broken families. Silent resentment. Hollow smiles in family photos that don't fool anyone. 6. It silenced men and empowered manipulation. You stopped talking. You stopped expressing. You stopped being real. Because every time you spoke your truth, she said you were insensitive. Every time you showed strength, she called it aggression. So you learned silence. You learned to bottle it in, to swallow your truth until it burned your chest. And in that silence, you died slowly. A man who cannot speak in his own home is already homeless. He's just living in a house where his soul isn't welcome. This is how the modern man was tamed. Not by war, not by politics, but by emotional manipulation disguised as peacekeeping. 7. It created weak sons and entitled daughters. The sons are watching. They see their fathers walking on eggshells, apologizing for existing, and they grow up thinking masculinity is something to suppress. The daughters are watching too. They see their mother's emotions move mountains, and they grow up believing submission is weakness and manipulation is strength. Now, a generation rises where men are scared to lead and women are allergic to respect. Life lesson. Backhand index pointing right. The home you lead today becomes the world your children inherit tomorrow. Lead boldly. Teach balance. 8. The real truth. A happy marriage needs a strong man. Peace doesn't come from submission, it comes from strength. A woman only feels safe when she knows her man won't crumble. She might challenge your stance, but she'll despise you if you don't have one. You don't need to dominate her, you just need to stop surrendering your purpose. Because the moment you lead with conviction, love finds its order again. Life lesson. Backhand index pointing right. The most loving thing a man can do is stand firm. Strength creates safety. Weakness invites chaos. Final word. Peace is a shared responsibility, not a male obligation. Brother, peace is not your burden alone to carry. Love is not your cross to die on alone. Happy wife, happy life is a slogan that broke millions of men because it demanded sacrifice without reciprocity, devotion without respect, leadership without authority. It turned builders into beggars, kings into jesters, men into emotional janitors mopping up the mess of an unbalanced union. A strong marriage isn't built on one man's endless submission, it's built on two people carrying the load together, respecting each other's sacrifices, honoring each other's boundaries, and protecting each other's peace. So to every man reading this, refuse to be a servant in your own kingdom. Refuse to trade your mission for her moods. Build homes on shared duty, shared sacrifice, shared vision. Because if you keep telling men that their only job is to make her smile, don't be surprised when they stop smiling themselves.